Welcome to The Speechy Show. Being a speech-language pathologist often means having too much work and not enough planning time. To beat the overwhelm, we're bringing you the tricks and tools that will make your job a little bit easier. Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Speechy Show. I am your host, Carrie Clark from speechandlanguagekids.com. And I am here today with Kristie Knickerbocker from A Tempo Voice Center. How are you, Kristie?
I'm doing well, Carrie. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for being on. Kristie, I believe you are our first repeat guest. So you're the first one to be on the show twice, which I feel like is quite the status. So if you are just joining us, we are talking today about voice therapy. We are going to talk about what to do when that voice referral lands in your lap. What are those first steps that you need to be doing to be using best practices of who do you refer to? What do you start with? We're going to talk about all of that today with Kristie, and we're going to do some giveaways here in just a little bit. So stay tuned for giveaways. If you are new to the show, I am Carrie Clark, and this is The Speechy Show. We try to do this every week. It's been probably a good month since our last one because we had a series of cancellations. So we are back. We try to do these about every week on Monday afternoon, and we bring in a new guest to talk about a topic that they love. And Kristie, you love voice, don't you?
I do. How'd you know?
Kristie, while we're getting set up, why don't you go ahead and tell people a little bit about you and what you have going on?
Sure. So I'm Kristie Knickerbocker, and I am a speech-language pathologist. I specialize in voice and voice disorders. I run a clinic in Fort Worth, Texas, and we recently moved locations. So it's been a really crazy month for me. So I'm excited to kind of have things calm down so I can do this interview. I create online resources to help other people who may not specialize in voice so that they can learn as much as they can and treat their patients because we don't get a lot of education on voice in grad school unless you know for sure that that's what you want to specialize in. So I'm out to do the best I can to help you guys with that. And I've recently started a mobile fees and video stroboscopy clinic as well, serving the Dallas-Fort Worth and surrounding areas. So
nice.
Lots of things.
Excellent. Well, if you did not see Kristie's last episode on The Speechy Show, you shared a ton of really great therapy activities and some materials. So if you go over to speechandlanguagekids.com and search for voice or Kristie, you will find that Speechy Show that we did before. But today we're talking about best practices for those first steps. So what do you do when you get a voice referral, you have somebody on your caseload who needs voice therapy, and what do we do? Oops. Oh, I'm getting all kinds of pop-ups. Sorry. They're over your face. We're back. Okay. It's been kind of crazy around here, guys. Sorry. All right, so let's jump on in with our first five steps when treating voice disorders, and then we're going to do some giveaways and share some resources at the end. So the first thing we need to do is start with our supervisor. What do we need to touch base with our supervisor on when we get that voice client?
So we need to know, touch base with ourselves and our supervisor, I guess I should have said. Look inward. How competent are you in treating voice disorders? You look at how long until the patient's going to arrive at your doorstep. And you can ask your supervisor if there are some classes online or in person that you're able to take so you can become competent in feeling like you need to treat that client with the voice disorder. So it's all about getting the most information and feeling competent. And that voice clients can be really tricky sometimes, and you need to make sure that you know enough where the patient we call it the buy-in. They have to believe that you can help them, or else it's not going to work at all. So talking and then researching what courses are good and what your company might be able to pay for you.
Perfect. I'm curious, for those of you watching on Facebook Live, type into the comments, do you feel confident with treating voice disorders, or does that seem a little scary to you? I know that I always feel scared. I'm just not quite sure what to do.
The thing is, Carrie, is I don't know if anybody will type something like that because no one likes to admit when they don't know anything, you know, and that's scary to me too, is there's so much judgment, especially right now on social media, about asking a question, and then you get a slew of responses of, I can't believe you don't know this, you know, how are you practicing? And of course that discourages people from asking questions at all. You're never going to know everything. So we need to change the way we are viewing that, especially on social media right now.
I agree. It can definitely be hard to admit that you don't know something. And, you know, I feel that when I'm talking to a parent, and I've over the years, I've gotten more comfortable with saying, like, you know, this is not my specialty. We treat a wide range of disorders, and this one I don't have much experience in, but I'm willing to find the answers. I'm willing to, you know, do the work. But it can be hard to admit that to a colleague or a parent or a client even, you know. So I think you're right. We need to all be there to support each other. All right, we're getting some comments. Let's see what this says. Okay, so here's yes, but it requires more planning for me than areas that I see every day. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Voice is an area I feel least prepared in. I've had a few voice kids lately, and the first thing I do is refer to an ENT to figure out the cause. Good. Wonderful. One says, scary to me because I'm only week 3 into graduate course for voice. Yeah, absolutely going to be scary then. And then we've got, I typically don't work with a lot of voice in the schools, so definitely don't feel comfortable working on voice. Yeah, so I think everybody's kind of in the same page. It's all like this, okay, maybe I can handle this, but it seems scary.
Yeah, it does. And so I've made, we can talk about it later too, but there is the Confident Clinician video series. It's a 2-parter on my main website, and on Teachers Pay Teachers, I was able to put the full video, but it goes through each type of voice disorder treatment and with video examples of how to do it, because let's face it, it's hard to do that from a book. You read about all these things, and if you're needing to brush up on things, and it's like, oh, I think I remember how to do that in grad school. They taught me. I wanted to have that available to people so they can look through that.
Perfect. What's your website again? The URL?
So my website, www.atempovoicecenter.com, and that's ATEMPO Voice Center.
Perfect. All right. So you can find that Confident Clinician video series over there. And will you link to that in the comments of the Facebook event after we get done here?
I sure will.
Perfect.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So our first step then, when you get a voice client, talk to your supervisor, see what kinds of additional training is available for you. You know, maybe even just see if there's somebody in your department or in your setting that would have some information as well that they could share with you. So step 2 then is going to be looking at that ENT referral. Somebody just mentioned that. So let's talk about how that looks when we get a new voice client.
So right away, even if you don't have a voice client on your caseload, I think it's important to research the ENTs in your area, because it's best practice for us to get a visualization of the voice box before initiating treatment. It's so important, at the very least, getting an ENT to either come in to your facility or have the patient go see that outpatient ENT to get a flexible endoscopy, and that's a skinny camera through the nose. They can visualize kind of gross motor movement. If best case scenario, you're able to get a video stroboscopy. There's a recent study about diagnoses getting changed about 50% of the time from just a flex scope, and then the patient went and got a video stroboscopy and diagnosis was changed. I mean, that's crazy to me.
Yes.
Get a strobe if you can, which is, you know, part of the reason I'm trying to do this mobile video stroboscopy thing is it's such a great exam. You can really see what's going on with that. So forge relationships with these ENTs. I can't tell you how hard it is to get to talk face-to-face with them, but at least drop off some literature, shoot the clinic manager an email, let them know you're there, let them know you're curious. I know they're busy people. It's really hard to get FaceTime with them. But I think you should be doing that, whether you have a voice client right now or not.
Yeah. Okay, I have a question for you, and you may not know the answer to this. But when you're in the schools, I know I was always told, you know, we can't refer somewhere because then the school district has to pay for it. Do you know if that's the case with voice? And that's why I said you might not know because you're not in the schools.
I don't know.
Okay.
That's tricky.
Yeah, because it was kind of like, well, make sure if you're going to make a referral that it's medically necessary, since the school might have to pay for it. But I would assume this would be medically necessary because that's in our, ASHA is telling us, like, this is the best practice. You need to be getting that ENT referral before you treat. So I would think it's still, you need to do it.
And it would be such a shame to be guilted into saying, well, maybe they don't need services. Just let them go on with that hoarse voice, just so that we don't have to pay for it as a school district. I think that's horrible. But, I know they have budgets, but, we have ethics. So
we have ethics. We have ethics. All right. Well, if anybody who's watching on Facebook Live has any thoughts on that or knows more than we do, go ahead and type it into the comments and we'll read that out for everyone as well. Okay, so you talk to your supervisors, you look at that ENT referral piece of it. Let's talk about seeking out a mentor or a qualified SLP to refer to if you're unsure. So how does that look for you?
Right. So if you look inward, like we talked about earlier, and you decide that you've done some research, you just don't feel comfortable, it's okay. And do not let your supervisor make you feel like you have to see this patient, even though you don't feel competent. That's doing a disservice to the patient. So you can seek out a mentor if possible in your area. On the Pan American Vocology Association website, they're working on a list of qualified SLPs in the world who you can refer to. And it's obviously not the best situation for the patient if they have to drive over an hour to get to treatment. But again, in our code of ethics, we do no harm. So if you know and you admit it, it's okay. You're not going to lose your job because you say, I tap out. I can't see this patient. I don't feel competent. It's okay. So I'm here to tell you, seek out that referral. If you have time and you could locate a mentor, go observe some voice sessions, it's so hard because we all work. So, things you can do to get your skills better, to hone your skills, yes, but the referral option is always there. And it's a sign, I think, of strength in your practice. Quoting yoga here, just take a step back and say, I can't. So, you know yourself.
Yeah. I want to add on this, she's talking about your code of ethics. This is through ASHA. If you guys are US based, ASHA says that we are not allowed to do any part of the practice that we do not feel competent in and that we do not have training and expertise in. So if you don't feel comfortable doing voice and you do it anyway, and something happens and you get reported to ASHA, you can lose your license for doing that. And I don't say this to scare you. I say this to give you something to back you up. So, for example, when I was working in the school district, we had a director of special education who asked me to do something that I was not comfortable with, and I think it was like teaching keyboarding skills, like typing or something, because it was like a situation where they only had so many minutes with this kid and they needed somebody to do this. So they're like, here, Carrie will do it. And I was able to say, no, I can lose my license if I do this because teaching typing is not part of my scope of practice, and my code of ethics says this. So you have that ASHA backing you up. If you say, I don't feel comfortable doing this, they can't force you to, because you can come back with, well, then I can lose my license, and I'm not willing to do something to jeopardize my license. So I say that kind of not to scare people, but we do have that
and
support.
It shouldn't. Yeah, it's a balance, and we wear so many hats. That's why I've created the Many Hats SLP Facebook page, as support and resources, because you can't know it all.
Absolutely.
But we have to be smart about what we feel competent in, and always learning. That's why we have CEUs. They're mandatory, but you shouldn't just look for CEUs just to get them because they're free. Find inexpensive ones if you're on a budget that are specific to the area of patients that you treat. So
absolutely,
I think that's really important.
All right, we're going to back up a minute because somebody did chime in about that school referral policy, and it's Griffin's speech. She says, yes, that's true, that the schools can say, that they would have to pay for the referral if you make it. But she says, but I would still refuse to treat voice kids in the school before the ENT referral. I really had to stick to my guns and it compromised my job, but I know I did the right thing. That's amazing. I mean, it's sad that we have to be put in that situation at all, but it's good that, you know, you can stick to your guns. Let's see. Ali says, I work at a private clinic and one of my kids went to school district. They said they would not target voice without the ENT seeing him first. I had also referred already, but parents didn't follow through. Yeah, so that's another one where the school district said, no, we're not going to do it. So it sounds like, you know, you got footing to stand on here if you're going to say to your school district, well, we need to make this referral.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Griffin Speech says, any tips for getting the ENT to let you see the visualizations? I work for a large health system, so the ENT is part of the same system, but I have not been able to see the results. Oh, it's Autumn. Autumn's there on Griffin Speech. Hi, Autumn.
Okay, Autumn. Oh, yeah, Autumn. So she's got
Expand Your
Scope. It's a mentor matching company, if you're looking for that. Yeah, so sometimes the ENT has the capability of recording the video on DVD. The majority of ENTs that I work with don't have that capability, or they just are busy. So if you have a specialty voice clinic, and I'm thinking, you know, like in San Antonio, Blake Simpson, I've gotten discs like that from him, but sometimes you don't have that. So I have gone in person to an ENT office and viewed it on his system. You can do that. Like I said, try and make relationships with these ENTs so that they feel comfortable letting you do that. If the patient can bug the ENT enough, you're bugging them to try and get at least some screenshots. You know, keep trying, because they have enough technology to get the video made, if it's a video stroboscopy, but a lot of times if they're just visualizing through the nose with their eye, so that means the camera, the scope, the camera's on the eye, and they're looking at that, they're not recording any of that.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, that may be the hard part if they're just doing an exam like that, where they're just relying on visualizing it with their own eyeball. You can't get pictures of that, unfortunately. Yeah. So video stroboscopy.
Do it. All right, let's see. Okay. All right, so we have talked about talking to your supervisor, looking at the ENTs in your area, seeking out a mentor or a qualified SLP to refer to if you're feeling uncomfortable. But let's talk about what we can do while we're waiting for that ENT referral, or if you've got someone and you just can't get access to an ENT right now. What can we do with those patients?
So doing no harm, I think you can do two things while you're waiting. The first is teaching the patient on hygiene. So you can educate on anatomy, how voice production physiology, and what that means is how the vocal cords work. What is the Bernoulli effect? What is myoelastic aerodynamic theory of phonation? Look back in your book, find that if you're not comfortable explaining that off the top of your head. And you can do that. Lots of education there on staying hydrated, topical versus systemic hydration, things like that, as well as abdominal breath use. So teaching a patient to breathe, people call it diaphragmatic, abdominal, whatever you want to call it, where you're not taking a huge breath like this and then letting it out, trying to get stability from your abdominal muscles as you produce sound for speech. And I've got some online things to help you with that. I've got the elephant vocal hygiene, in the Voice in a GIF, there's some educational resources on breath training, and then hygiene checklists as well. So things to help you in those sessions, kid, adult, for that. So those are things, doing no harm. There's never any harm in educating a patient. You can do the breath training with that as well.
Perfect. And she's talking about some of these more technical terms and stuff, and you obviously are just going to put it in whatever terms that your patient can understand. So if you have an adult who's college educated and understands all this, then go for that. Or, there's also ways to talk about the voice and how it works for a very young child as well. And I know you have a lot of resources for that as well.
I do. Yes. So just looking through my store, finding what's applicable to you, what's good.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Okay, we are going to do some giveaways here in just a minute, so hang tight if you're watching with us on Facebook Live. And the last tip we're going to talk about is this concept of do no harm. So once we get to the end of all this, we've done all these steps, what's left? How can we make sure that we're not doing any harm?
So you need to, just make sure that you've done everything you can do to get an instrumental exam. Best case scenario, video stroboscopy to visualize the vocal folds in motion. This lets you know, are they touching? Is it the false vocal folds touching above them? Is there a huge gap? Is one paralyzed? This helps you not start teaching the patient maladaptive, meaning not good, vocal behaviors because you may have not seen the vocal folds, because you think you're doing the right thing. I was listening to a speech science podcast not too long ago. Leah Halou was talking about how it's not good enough anymore to be well-intended. If we have good intentions at heart and you're on the stand because something happened with your patient and there was harm done, and you say, well, I thought I was doing the right thing, and really it's just you didn't know, you weren't sure. So that's just not a position you ever want to put yourself in. So instead of being well-intended, be well-informed, change that. It's your duty to know, to teach yourself all the time. And I'll caveat again with, you're never going to know everything, but you still need to do your very best. That's fair to your patients.
Yeah. And like we were saying before, it's okay to get to a point where you just say, we need to stop. If you say, we've done all the vocal hygiene we can do, we've done all the education we can do, you still won't get that ENT referral I asked you for. There's nothing more I can do for you until we hit that point.
Yep. Because sometimes, case scenario, you have paralysis. You don't know it's paralysis. You're working on getting loud with a patient, right? And they're squeezing and, they're trying everything and you end up making no progress. The voice never changes, but now they squeeze all the time just to make sound, whereas they weren't doing that before. When an easy injection from an ENT or surgery would have fixed that right up. You could have followed that with voice therapy and done a great complementing treatment approach. Instead, you've put the patient even further back, because now you would have to perhaps do that surgery and then correct the maladaptive behaviors, wasting money, wasting patient time, things like that.
Absolutely.
So just an example.
Absolutely. All right. Autumn is saying she has a few of your pediatric resources for voice patients that she likes, and she sent a link there too. So if you scroll down into the comments,
Autumn.
She's awesome. We love Autumn.
I know. She said she was going to do it, and I said, yay, because she's so quick with the link down there. Thank you.
All right. Well, we hope that helps you guys. We're going to share some resources here, and then we're going to do some giveaways. So stay tuned if you're on Facebook Live. But that is our first 5 steps. Always feel comfortable saying that you need help, saying that you're not sure, saying that you need to stop. It's okay. You're not a bad SLP.
Yeah.
So tell us what some of your favorite resources are for working with this population then.
Okay, so we'll start from the free and we'll move up. So there's a great website. The University of Madison, Wisconsin has some great no-cost CUs. They rotate frequently, and the subject matter rotates as well, and that's specifically on voice. MedBridge has a sale. I partnered with them with a coupon code to get licensed SLPs a yearly subscription for only $95. I know that seems like a lot maybe to students or to you all, but truly, since working for myself, I've paid over $500 one year. I went somewhere and spent upwards of $1,500 on just one course. And that was one course.
Yeah.
So $95 a year, really not that much if you think about it. And that coupon code is lowercase ATEMPO, capital VOICECENTER. So it's lowercase ATEMPO, uppercase voice center. That's $95. If you're a student, you can get it for $75. $25, even cheaper. You have to sign up with an .edu email address, though, for it to work. And that coupon is all caps, A-Tempo Voice Center, and then lowercase student with no spaces. So there's that. There's a great course. Edie Hapner, Joseph Stemple, they've got a bunch of big names in voice. But Joseph Stemple, I will talk about that course. Visual examples, and he talks through a session with a person, so you really get to see what a voice therapy treatment session could look like, trialing and error with this person that's a girl that he sits down with, and really talking through it. If you've never seen a voice session done before, not only is he educating you on his method, but he's really showing you how to troubleshoot with a real person, which I think is great. On my website, on the atempovoicecenter.com, or Teachers Pay Teachers on my store, the Voice in a GIF. I've got one for adults, one for pediatrics. I've bundled kind of a variety of things, Voice Client 101 or 102 packs to kind of help you through it. We talked about the vocal hygiene things before. There's a Voice Therapy Detectives one as well. I have a Voiceopoly that's got things you can do with straw phonation and trivia, voice myths. It's really fun to play that.
Sounds awesome. I like it. All right. Is that all of yours, or did you have any others?
Yeah. No, that's all.
Okay. All right. So we're going to do some giveaways. We're going to do 2 giveaways here. The first one is going to be from Kristie. The second one's going to be from me. So what are you doing for your giveaway today, Kristie?
So today I'm giving away my adult Voice in a GIF, hospital, clinic, or SNF, and you get that emailed directly to your inbox as it's an ebook, e-resource, use it right away.
Perfect. And that's therapy activities? Is that what that is?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it includes a plan of action. So it's a stimulability chart, so you can see. It's because it was so confusing in grad school for me. There was always like, there's so many things you can do. And I'm like, well, what are those things? And they talk about it, and I'd still be left with, but are there others? And they're like, well, yeah, there's others. So I'm trying to make it really simple. If your patient can do this, follow this arrow, try this. If it doesn't, go back up here. And so it kind of, I can walk you through it.
I like flow charts.
Right. Vocal resonance, flow therapy, semi-occluded vocal tract exercises like your straw phonation or your lip trills, and then hygiene. It's got a reflux handout, breath training like I talked about earlier, talking about functional aphonia. If a person just has normal vocal cords but they are not able to make sound, how to elicit sound and say, oh yes, you can make sound. It's all, you got all the right tools, just how to use them again. So
perfect. All right. And where can people find that if they do not win today?
2 places. You can go to my main website, the atempovoicecenter.com, and click on all products at the top. It'll take you right there to my store. I have periodic sales, so follow me on Instagram, Kristie at Kristie_voice for that. And then on my Teachers Pay Teachers website, you can go there and get to my store and download it there as well if you prefer that interface.
Perfect. All right, so that's going to be our first giveaway. The second giveaway today is going to be the 2 free months in my membership, the Speech Therapy Solution. If you're not familiar with that, that is our CEUs plus support. So we're answering questions, we're giving you training videos, there's worksheets you can print off and use. Plus we're doing at least one free, or not free, it's included in the membership, but it's 1 CEU per month that we're adding in there. So I'm going to be giving away 2 free months to the winner today, and you can get that at speechandlanguagekids.com/join if you're interested in checking that out. Okay, so I'm going to ask a question. The first 2 people to respond on Facebook Live are going to win. So the first one will get the Voice in a GIF. The second one will get the Speech Therapy Solution. All right, here's the question. Name 1 cause of voice disorders. And after I wrote that, I was like, that might have been the question I used last time too. on your episode before. It's all right. It'll be a good one. All right. Let's see. Autumn says she hasn't tried MedBridge yet. Thanks for the info. And she found your link to your code. Autumn, I'm just going to have to put you on staff.
I know. She needs some compensation.
Right. All right. Emma Pizer says vocal fold dysfunction. Emma, you're going to win the Voice in a GIF. How do you want Emma to contact you?
Email me, Emma, at atempovoicecenter@gmail.com. atempovoicecenter@gmail.com.
Perfect. And Lauren Martinez de Luna, you said reflux. Wonderful. Lauren, you are going to win the 2 free months in the Speech Therapy Solution. So you can email me at Carrie@speechandlanguagekids.com. That's Carrie. All right. Congratulations, you guys. And thank you, everyone, for chiming in. All right, we're going to wrap it up at that point for today, but join us next week on The Speechy Show. We'll have another great show headed your way. And Kristie, where can people find more information about you and all that you have?
So my website, Carrie, so www.atempovoicecenter.com. I'm very active there. I'm active on facebook.com/Atempo Voice Center. I post lots of relevant information in the voice field. The Many Hats FSLP Facebook group, and then on Instagram at Kristie, KRISTIE_voice. Lots of fun stuff there. You can follow me. I'm goofy most of the time, so it's serious. But, just out to let people know more about the voice. So that's my goal.
Perfect. And head on over to speechandlanguagekids.com/join if you'd like to learn more about the Speech Therapy Solution. We have a webinar coming up this week on preschool service delivery models for speech-language pathologists. Next month, we're doing one on core vocab for AAC. So we have some good CEU webinars headed your way, and all the other benefits as well. So we hope to see you over there. And thank you all for joining us today, and we will see you next week on The Speechy Show. Bye for now. Thanks for joining us today on The Speechy Show. We hope today's tips have helped you feel a little less stressed and a little more confident about your work. If you're looking for more stress busters and confidence boosters, we'd love to have you join us in the Speech Therapy Solution, where you'll get access to a huge library of premium training videos and another library of print and go therapy materials. You can also get help with your tough cases by joining Carrie on the weekly Q&A calls or by posting in the exclusive Facebook group. Plus, group members can join us for a monthly webinar that can be used for continuing education credit. Head on over to speechandlanguagekids.com/join to check out all the amazing benefits of the Speech Therapy Solution membership. Bye for now.